So what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Swagner17, and today we're going to be going over my defensive scheme for Madden 20. This is a very effective scheme for stopping the run and the pass, but before we get into that, I thought we should go into some of the basics. Now, I would like to say I'm a pretty credible source. I've been playing competitive Madden for over 7 years now, and I take pride in having a really good defense. Typically, my games are always low scoring because I basically just chew clock on offense, and I just rely on my defense to give good field position. Alright, let's get into the tips. Alright, first off, I'm sure at this point everyone should know about usering skilled positions. Meaning when you're playing defense, you're not on a defensive lineman trying to sack the quarterback. You're using a linebacker or even a safety or even a corner. Because using one of these skilled players properly can lead to confusion for your opponent, and at the advanced level you can get incredible user lurks, just like me. And I'll show you a few highlights in a minute to know what I mean. Usering is an art. You need to bait your opponent into throwing it where you want him to, and you can make game-changing interceptions. This is the first series of the game, and I'm just going to take you through this step by step. Okay, so as you can see, I'm using Anzalone, the linebacker. I see a tight end coming across the middle of the field, so I'm going to follow him, but I know he's going to run into my CPU zone over there to the left. So what I do is I start to peel off, and now I'm following AJ Green. You see, as I'm following AJ Green here in the middle of the field, I then see another receiver break in on a deep in route, and what I'm going to do is basically bait my opponent into thinking that that receiver is open, which in reality he is, but I just played it so perfectly. Just watch as I peel back right as he's cocking back to throw it. I'm already peeling back. He has no time to change his throw. He already thrown the ball, and it's already been intercepted. So as you can see, the progression is pretty advanced. I start out, follow the tight end. Oh, go back to AJ Green. Oh, he thinks the other guy's open. There we go. User lurk. And of course, this guy ended up quitting. Let's move on to another example. Now here's a good example of you don't even really have to bait your opponent. You can just follow your assignment and stay in your zone. And sometimes they just feel gravitated towards your user. They see the person you're using, and for some reason in the human brain, they just want to throw it at you for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's always like that. I even find myself doing it on offense sometimes. You just want to test the user so bad, and of course this opponent is going to do it. A receiver's coming right into my zone, as you can see, coming right over the middle. I'm waiting for it, and he still decides to throw it to me. A terrible read, but sometimes when you're just usering, he'll just throw it right to you. Sometimes, if you have a good enough reaction time to realize a screen pass or something is coming, and if you're in the right position, you can break right through their line and intercept a screen pass. You're already going the other way. Okay, this is another great example of the bait and switch. Basically, I'm using Danny Trevathan here. I see a tight end coming over the middle of the field. He wants to think that I'm going to continue covering the tight end, but obviously I see that receiver coming over to the right, and I'm just going to peel back off, and he throws it right to me. But it's just a nice little bait and switch. They call it bait and switch because obviously I'm going to the left, but then I see the guy coming to the right, and it's just a perfect user lurk. Alright, this right here is a great bait right before halftime, denying my opponent any points right before halftime. So I'm using Anzalone. I'm just sitting here. I'm doing nothing. I'm literally just sitting here. Then I see the receiver break in on a slant, and he just has to throw it, but by the time he's already pressed the button, I'm already accelerating right to that exact spot. And I dropped the user lurk that time, but basically, just watch. I pretend like I'm doing nothing, but he's already decided where he's throwing it, and by that point, I'm already there, and sadly I dropped the user lurk. But basically, it's that easy. Alright, this is another perfect example of just sitting low, pretending like you're doing nothing. You just sit here, and then he's already made up his mind who he's throwing it to, but by that point, I'm already sprinting to the location, and we get the user lurk. It's just so beautiful. Like, there's nothing he can do about it. I'm sitting there, he thinks he's wide open, and I'm just user lurk. That's just how easy it is. This is probably my favorite user lurk so far in Madden 20, so I'm using Bell. I'm abandoning my coverage, basically, or so he thinks. So I'm running all the way from the flats down into the inside of the field. I'm all the way past the right hash, and he sees that his slot receiver, who I'm supposed to be covering, is seemingly wide open, and he's already pressed the button to throw the ball at this point. As you can see, his arm is cocked back, meaning he's already pressed the button. But the funny thing is I oh, this is just beautiful. This is my favorite one so far. Just look at how good it is. He thinks he's wide open, and I peel back so hard, and Von Bell comes. It was a terrible throw to begin with because I had a guy right underneath of him, but still, look at the user. Just look at this. Like, this is what you can be doing as long as you practice and just harness your skills. And unfortunately, on the run back, Andrew Luck, oh, he couldn't get me. I thought he tackled me, but I forgot I scored on that one. So this is what you can be doing to your opponents every single time on defense. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is being familiar with player motions and being able to size up the runner for a good tackle. Also, we don't just want to be throwing out massive hit sticks like that. Like, you're going to miss. Every time you try to throw out a hit stick like that, you're most likely going to miss. There's only certain situations where the hit stick is safe and viable, but for the most part, you're not really going to want to be throwing them out like that. But as far as tackling, I like to strafe with L2 or LT and just size up my runner and make a good conservative tackle. The CPU will do a good job tackling themselves, but a lot of times it's going to come down to you making the tackle, obviously. Like I said, you just want to put yourself in a good position to be able to make the tackle if you need to. Alright, another thing I want to mention, which is kind of for the advanced players, but it is peeling off blockers, okay? This one takes a little bit of practice, but when an O-lineman is coming upfield to block your linebacker, as you can see in this clip, we have the left guard pulling, he's coming up, he's going to run straight up and block me, right? So usually you get suction cup blocked, and Ezekiel Elliott's just going to run for like a first down easily. But what you can do is turn your back to the O-lineman, as you see I do. I turn my back to the O-lineman, and I just peel right off of him and make a good tackle against Ezekiel Elliott. Pretty simple stuff. This one, he didn't really engage with me, but usually you can get him even closer, and you can peel off even faster and make a stop behind, or not behind the line, but make a stop for less yards. You know what I'm saying? I don't usually keep too much film of me doing that. I guess I should have for the sake of this video, but I mean, I've gotten pretty good at doing it over the years, and it's very effective against teams like the Cowboys who try to overpower you with runs the entire game. I'll try to show it off here against the computer. No, but we do just run around him and make the tackle. But anyways, so now you should have a general idea of how to stop the run and the pass with your user. So now the question you may be asking is, what type of plays and formations should I run? Well, there's 3 defensive playbooks that I would recommend using with any team. That being the New Orleans Saints defensive playbook, and the Jets defensive playbook, and the Lions defensive playbook. Now, the reason I say the Saints is because it's more of a base defense. This is what I'm using right now. It's got the 4-3, it's got a 46, which isn't as good as it was in previous games, but it's still pretty tricky. But I use the Saints because I like using the Saints as a team, so I use their defensive playbook, which suits their play style. Because it doesn't have a 3-4, which a 3-4 is mainly for teams that have good depth at linebacker, which the Saints do not. So I use their own playbook, which is good. But teams with 2 good middle linebackers like the Bears, it's better to run the Lions or the Jets playbook because it offers 3-4 formations, as well as some pretty nasty blitzes. And they have, I believe the Lions have a 3-4 and a 4-3, so it's pretty versatile in that aspect. But as far as the play goes, whether I'm running 3-4 or 4-3, I typically stay in cover 3. As you can see, I've called this play 974 times. That is obviously almost 1,000 times I run this play. Now, you may think that's a little bit crazy, but the tricky part is when it comes to the adjustments I make before the snap. Now, I'd say I run this play cover 3 90% of the time during my games, but it's the adjustments that really do the job. So the first thing I do as soon as I as soon as we come out onto the field, I press L1, R1, which does AQB contain. Now, if I'm facing a mobile quarterback I'm going to take one of my defensive tackles, put them on a QB spy, then I'm going to back up with my linebacker. Usually I like to use my linebacker. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is identify the strong side of the ball. Typically, with a tight end would be the strong side of the ball, but in Madden, I like to just go over here to the left side because I see two receivers, so I want to kind of stay in this little zone right here. Be expecting anything over the middle, whether it be from the tight end or from this receiver. Basically playing my zone, but just having more freedom within this zone. And be expecting plays and just try to make a pre-snap prediction of what your opponent's going to do. But this is the last step you'd be doing, because you also want to press triangle or Y. You're going to go underneath on the coverage, which will put your purples into hard flats. But then what you're going to want to do is press triangle or Y again and go over top, so right on the right stick, which will put them into a cloud flat, which is way more effective than the purple zone. It's way more effective than a hard flat. It's one of the most effective zones. So we're just going to let this play go and see what happens. So he is running the ball, so we're just going to size up the runner, make a good tackle. But anyways, I'm making at least 5 pre-snap adjustments. Boom, 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 boom. And sometimes I guess play pass with L1 up on the D-pad if I know they're passing. Rarely do I ever run commit or blitz because they will burn you. Rarely do I ever press my DBs because they will burn you. I typically just stay in the base formation, do my adjustments. Now the only other change I would make is putting, say, Bell in man coverage here if it's trips and you're getting burnt consistently. If not, you just keep running the zones and it should work fine. But mixing in a man every now and then can be proven to be very successful. Alright, so just look at this play and then watch how fast I can manipulate it. Boom, just like that, we're ready for action. So online opponents, they're typically not very smart. If they have any successful play out of a certain formation, they're basically going to run that exact formation the rest of the game. Maybe switch it up 1 or 2 times, but they get very predictable and you should be able to destroy them if they do that. Alright, one more thing I want to say. In jump ball situations, one-on-one jump ball situation, as you see here, I'm the New Orleans Saints, and I make the mistake that I'm going to tell you guys to not make. If it's one-on-one like this, and it's coming up with play ball, do not press play ball. Do not press triangle or Y. You need to press square to swap this ball, because 9 times out of 10, one-on-one, if you try to play ball, for some reason, the receiver will always make a catch like that. And this is 3rd and 17 in a crucial game-deciding, scenario. If I stop him here, I get the ball, have a chance to win the game, or tie it up at least. But anyways, I go for the play ball. He gets the glitchy catch with Calvin Ridley, and first down for him. The drive continues. I end up losing this game. Now what you need to get in the habit of is spamming the square button to swat these balls down, because a swat is almost 9 times out of 10 guaranteed to work, whereas playing the ball, trying to go for the interception, 9 times out of 10, you're playing for the opponent and he's going to catch the ball, and it's really going to hurt you, and you're going to get really mad, just like I did on this play. But I would say if it's double coverage, you can easily go for the pick, and it should work out in your favor. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope it helped. I've made countless people rage quit throughout my years with just my user lurks, and I hope you can become a defensive master yourself. And until my next video, freaking doses.